In this video, we will be testing the mean mu. And our learning objectives are to test the mean mu when sigma is known using the normal distribution, and we will test mu when sigma is unknown using the student's t-distribution. How to test mu when sigma is known? It's not common that you know sigma, but in some cases, from preliminary studies or other information, you do know sigma. And in those cases, we will use a normal distribution. If you know that the data is normally distributed, then the sample size could be any sample size. If you don't know that it's normally distributed, then you have to have a sample size of at least 30 to use this method. So then what you're going to do is you're going to establish the null and alternate hypotheses. Remember, the null hypothesis, we call it H sub 0. It's always in the form mu equals some value, we'll call it K. And then the alternate hypothesis is H1. And that's either going to be mu is less than K, mu is greater than K, or mu is simply not equal to K. So the null hypothesis is some existing mean that you want to challenge, and the alternate hypothesis is what you think, how you think the mean has changed. You think it's greater than it was before, you think it's less, or you think it's not equal. Then you're going to use all your values, and in the TI Inspire, you're going to find z-test, and you're going to plug in your values. So it's not really necessary to use that formula because the calculator is going to do the work for you. And then the calculator also gives you the p-value, and then basically you just need to conclude the test. If the p-value is less than or equal to alpha, you can reject the null hypothesis. That's saying you have enough evidence to conclude that that mean for the null hypothesis has changed or it's not accurate. But if the p-value is greater than alpha, then you cannot reject the null hypothesis. You don't have enough evidence to reject it. And remember that we never accept the null hypothesis. We either reject it or we fail to reject it if we don't have enough evidence to do so. And then we interpret the conclusion in the context of the application. Here's essentially what it will look like in your TI Inspire. It's going to ask you for mu sub 0, which is the mu from the null hypothesis. And you're going to have to plug in sigma, the sample mean, and the sample size. And then for the alternate hypothesis, you have to, there's a little drop-down menu, and you're going to choose whether mu is greater than, not equal, or less than mu sub 0, which again is the mean from the null hypothesis. Here's an example. Sunspots, which are temporary dark spots visible on the sun, have been observed for many centuries. Records of sunspots from ancient Persian and Chinese astronomers go back thousands of years. Some archaeologists think sunspot activity may somehow be related to climate change. Let X be a random variable representing an average number of sunspots observed in a 4-week period. A random sample of 40 such periods from Spanish colonial times gave the following data. The sample mean is X bar is approximately equal to 47.0. Previous studies of sunspot activity during this period indicate that sigma equals 35. It is thought that for thousands of years, the mean number of sunspots per 4-week period was about mu equals 41. Sunspot activity above this level may or may not be linked to gradual climate change. Do the data indicate that the mean sunspot activity during the Spanish colonial period was higher than 41? Use alpha equal to 0.01. Part A. Establish the null and alternate hypotheses. What is the level of significance alpha? Okay, for the null hypothesis, we say h sub 0 colon, and then we find the existing mean that we're trying to challenge. And it says up here, it is thought that for thousands of years, the mean number of sunspots per 4-week period was about mu equals 41. That's what we want to challenge. So that's our null hypothesis. Now, the question is, do the data indicate that the mean sunspot activity during the Spanish colonial period was higher than 41? So our alternate hypothesis is, since it says higher than, is mu is greater than 41. And our level of significance, alpha, is provided in the problem, 0.01, which is also 1%. Part B. Which distribution do we use for the sample test statistic? Compute the test statistic from the sample data. The sample test statistic is Z. And so, which distribution do we use? We use the standard normal distribution. And we use the standard normal distribution because we know sigma. If we did not know sigma, we would use the student's t distribution. Okay, so we're going to go in our TI Inspire to z-test. And it's going to ask for mu sub 0, sigma, x bar, n, and then it asks for the format of the alternate hypothesis. So mu sub 0 is the mean from the null hypothesis, 41. Sigma is 35. X bar is 47. N, the number of data values in that study, 40 such periods, so n is 40. And the alternate hypothesis is in the form mu greater than 41, so we need to do the drop-down menu and choose mu is greater than mu sub 0. We press enter, and we get z is approximately 1.0842. Part C. Find the p-value of the test statistic. Sketch the sampling distribution and show the area corresponding to the p-value. Well, when we did z-tests, it also gave us the p-value. So p is equal to 0.1391. And to sketch our standard normal curve, our z-value, this is a right-tailed test since it's mu greater than 41. So the z-value is 1.0842, and the p-value is this area to the right of that line. So that area is 0.1319. And what that means is the p-value is the probability that a random sample would have a mean of 47 if the population mean really is 41, given that standard deviation of 35. So the probability of that happening is about a 13% chance. Now, we are only allowed to reject the null hypothesis if the p-value is less than alpha. And so in Part D, conclude the test, will you reject or fail to reject the null hypothesis? Well, we are going to fail to reject because p, 0.1391, is definitely greater than 0.01. It needs to be less than that value in order to reject the null hypothesis. So we fail to reject h sub 0 because p is greater than alpha. And then we have to interpret our results in the context of the problem. At the 1% level of significance, we do not have enough evidence to reject the null hypothesis. We do not think the average sunspot activity during the Spanish colonial period was higher than the long-term mean of 41. And now we're going to test mu when sigma is unknown, which is much more common than sigma being known. And just like before, you're going to have a simple random sample where you will calculate the sample mean, and this time you will also use the sample standard deviation S. And if you know that it's a normal distribution, mound-shaped and symmetric, then any sample size will work. If not, you need a sample size of at least 30. The first step is to state the null hypothesis, h sub 0, which will always be in the form mu equal to k, and it's some existing mean that you're going to challenge. And then again, the alternate hypothesis, h1, is either going to be mu is greater than k, mu is less than k, or mu is not equal to k. So you're going to figure out which one of those to use, and then you'll find the level of significance, which will be given in the problem. And then since we don't know sigma, we can't use the standard normal distribution. We're going to use the student's t distribution. So instead of z, we are going to find t. That will be the sample test statistic. And just like before, the TI inspire will give us that value, and we don't really need to use that formula. So the same place we found z test, we're going to find t test. Sorry about my dog whining in the background. So the t-test will give you the t-value, and it will also give you the p-value. And just like before, to conclude the test, you're going to compare the p-value to alpha. If p is less than or equal to alpha, you can reject the null hypothesis. If p is greater than alpha, you cannot reject the null hypothesis. And then you interpret in the context of the application. Here's what your TI Inspire will want from you. You're going to need to put again, the mean from the null hypothesis. And you will have to enter the sample mean, the sample standard deviation, and the sample size. And then for the alternate hypothesis, you're going to choose which format you used for your alternate hypothesis. And here's an example. The drug 6-MP is used to treat leukemia. The following data represents the remission times in weeks for a random sample of 21 patients using 6-MP. The sample mean is X bar is approximately 17.1 weeks, with sample standard deviation S is approximately equal to 10.0. Now remember, if you were given a list of data, you could also enter the data into a spreadsheet and calculate the sample mean and standard deviation if those were not provided. Let X be a random variable representing the remission time in weeks for all patients using 6-MP. Assume the X distribution is mound-shaped and symmetric. A previously used drug treatment had a mean remission time of mu equal to 12.5 weeks. Do the data indicate that the mean remission time using the drug 6-MP is different either way from 12.5 weeks? Use alpha equal to 0.05. Part A, establish the null and alternate hypotheses. What is the level of significance? For the null hypothesis, h sub 0, we're looking for an existing mean or a previous mean. Well, it says a previous drug had a mean remission time of mu equal to 12.5. That's our null hypothesis. We're going to be testing to see if this new drug has a different mean. So our alternate hypothesis, H1, we're testing to see if it's different either way. So we don't choose greater than or less than this time. It's just mu is not equal to 12.5. I'm sorry, my children are playing outside and the dog is not happy watching them and not being included. Part B, which distribution do we use for the sample test statistic t? Compute the sample test statistic from the sample data. Well, since we don't know sigma and we only know the sample standard deviation, we use the student's t distribution. So we are going to do t-test in the calculator. It's going to first ask for mu sub 0, which is the mean from your null hypothesis, and then it's going to ask for x bar, and then s, the sample standard deviation, n, and the format of the alternate hypothesis. So the mu sub 0 is 12.5. The sample mean is 17.1. The sample standard deviation is 10.0. The sample size, 21 patients, so n equals 21. And the alternate hypothesis was mu not equal to mu sub 0. And that gives us t is equal to approximately 2.1080. And it also gives us the p-value. P equals 0.0478. And to draw the distribution, it's a two-tailed distribution because we did mu not equal to 12.5. If we divide p in half, 0.0478 divided by 2, we get 0.0239. That would be the area of each of these little tails. For a t-value of 2.01080, and it'd be negative 2.1080 on that side. The p-value means that assuming this mean remission time of 12.5 is the mean for the new drug as well, it's the probability that a random sample would give us a mean and standard deviation of 17.1 and a sample standard deviation of 10. So the probability of that happening when the mean is 12.5 is only about 4.78%. And now we're going to conclude the test. So we compare the p-value to alpha. And in this case, the p-value of 0.0478 is less than alpha, which was, oops, I forgot to write it up here in part A. Alpha was 0.05 provided in the problem, and that is less than 0.05. So we will reject the null hypothesis because p is less than alpha. And then we need to interpret the results in the context of the problem. At the 5% level of significance, we have sufficient evidence to reject the null hypothesis. We can conclude that the drug 6-MP provides a different average remission time than the previous drug.